At the beginning, the scene opened with a view of a school building. Someone was shouting, calling out to Nanase, and saying that they wanted her to accept something. Nanase Rei smiled politely, holding a letter in her hand, and thanked the person. The boy, surprised, started to ask if that meant she would go out with him, but before he could finish, Nanase tore the letter apart with a cold expression. She declared that she would not accept a confession from someone who did not even have the courage to do it directly. She ripped the letter into pieces and threw them into the air, leaving the boy kneeling on the ground in disbelief, muttering that there was no way this was happening. As she walked past him, she simply said goodbye and left. Two boys witnessed the scene. Minato was sitting at his desk, reading, while Kanata stood beside him and remarked that there she went, the cold-hearted princess. Minato, still reading, thought to himself that their class's Nanase Rei was both athletic and smart, and also very beautiful. Since entering school, she had received attention from both boys and girls, and many had confessed to her. However, she had rejected all of them without hesitation. Because she cut them off so coldly, she had earned the nickname Cold-Hearted Princess. Minato muttered the title to himself, and Kanata teasingly asked if he was interested. Minato replied that he could not stand that kind of response, closing his book. Kanata, smiling, said that he kind of wanted to give it a try. Minato told him he was too easy as usual, while Kanata exclaimed that Minato did not understand men were the kind of creatures who wanted to climb the most impenetrable mountains. Minato replied tensely that he could not relate to that at all. Kanata then joked that Minato probably did not need that kind of challenge anyway. When Minato asked what he meant, Kanata admitted that he himself did not want to take a losing fight, since he had never even interacted with Nanase before. The scene then shifted. Minato, who sat next to Nanase Rei in class, thought to himself that their involvement was minimal. They also worked at the same part-time job, but they barely spoke. It was less of an involvement and more like quiet coexistence. At his part-time job, Minato was preparing ice cream when the manager suddenly appeared behind him. She commented dramatically, wondering aloud why someone from such a renowned family as the Nanase family, a once noble household, would be working at a place like theirs. Minato, startled, asked her not to stand behind him so suddenly. He answered that perhaps it was for learning about society. The manager sarcastically replied that such reasoning might apply to him. But surely there was more to Nanase's situation. She asked if he had heard anything about her at school. Minato said no, explaining that they had never spoken outside of work. The manager told him that she thought he could be someone who understood Nanase, but Minato rejected the idea, saying there was no way. Just then, Minato heard a voice saying, "Damn, you're cute," and turned to see a gangster-like man talking to Nanase. The man told her to come have some fun with him. Nanase, with her usual calm expression, only asked what his order was. The manager, panicking, whispered that they should call the police, but Minato told her to calm down and that they should try to handle it first. The gangster arrogantly introduced himself as the CEO's son of the Motokura Corporation and told Nanase that since she was working part-time and probably had no money, he would buy her whatever she wanted. Nanase flinched slightly but, with a darkened face, firmly told him that if he was not ordering, he should leave, since he was bothering other customers. The gangster clicked his tongue in frustration and left angrily. The manager, worried, asked if Nanase was okay, and Nanase replied that she was used to handling such people. When the manager tried to hug her, Nanase swiftly avoided it. Minato, observing the scene, thought that it was just as expected from the cold-hearted princess. Later that evening, as Minato was leaving work, he thought to himself that Nanase had been really cool just now, even when facing a man much larger than her. As he walked along the road, he remembered that she had said she was used to it, but he also recalled that her hands had been shaking. He wondered if he had imagined it. Then, Minato heard a voice saying, "Please stop following me." He looked ahead and saw Nanase with the same gangster from earlier. Realizing what was happening, Minato hid behind a wall and watched. The gangster tried to harass Nanase again, saying he would make her feel good. Nanase told him to stay away and to do it by himself if he wished, adding that she did not even want to breathe the same air as such a vile man, and ordered him to disappear. Minato, still hiding, thought that she was provoking him too much. The gangster grew furious, grabbed Nanase's hand, and shouted that just because she had a pretty face, she was getting too cocky. Nanase, frightened, told him to stop, but he smirked, saying brute force should have been his first move. He raised his fist to hit her. Minato hesitated, wondering if Nanase had no escorts from her family. He debated whether to interfere, thinking that the cold-hearted princess could probably handle it on her own. But as he recalled her shaking hands, he clenched his teeth, opened his eyes, and ran toward them, thinking that he had tried really hard to stay away from troublesome things. He aimed a kick at the gangster but missed as the man dodged. Standing protectively in front of Nanase, Minato told the gangster that laying hands on a woman was the lowest of the low and warned that next time, he would not miss. The gangster growled that he really liked that hair and angrily asked if it was okay for Minato to raise his hand against him. Minato replied that he had used his foot, not his hand. Enraged, the gangster shouted that he would make sure they never spoke again and began throwing punches. But Minato dodged everyone easily. As he moved, he thought that it was about this much strength and launched a punch of his own, grabbing the man's arm and forcing him to the ground. Minato thought to himself that he was a little confident in his grip strength, and decided he should discipline the man to some extent. The gangster cried out in pain, saying that he could not put any strength into his arm, and shouting that his father would not stay quiet about this, threatening that it would be the end of Minato's social life. Nanase looked shocked. She crouched in front of the gangster and told him that he still had not realized who she was, remarking sarcastically that his father must be having a hard time. The gangster was confused, asking what she meant. Nanase introduced herself as Nanase Rei, and reminded him that they had previously met at a party. The gangster stammered in disbelief, realizing she was from the Nanase family, one of their company's major shareholders. Remembering vaguely, he panicked as she told him she would have a lovely chat with her father about today. Terrified, the gangster kneeled before her, begging her to keep the incident a secret. Nanase replied that she understood and ordered him to leave. He immediately ran away, trembling. Nanase then swayed, and Minato rushed forward to steady her, asking if she was okay. She slapped his hand away, demanding to know what he was trying to get from saving her. Minato replied that he wanted nothing, that he had simply seen an acquaintance being attacked and stepped in. He said that since she could move, she seemed fine, and that was a relief. Nanase, slightly surprised, muttered that she saw. Then, with a shocked expression, she asked if that was really it. Minato thought that mentioning her shaking hands would be insensitive, and simply said that his body had moved on its own. Nanase laughed softly. When Minato asked what was funny, she said it was nothing, then blushed and said she should thank him, hesitantly expressing her gratitude for saving her before running away. Minato called out, asking if he should take her home, but realized he was too late as she had already gone. As Nanase ran, she stopped near a pole, panting, and thought to herself that if that was all it was, then why had he tried so hard? Her driver approached, panicked, asking what had happened. Nanase replied that it was nothing, that she had just tripped over a pebble. Sitting inside the car, she asked the driver if he could tell her something. The next day, Minato was at work, thinking about why he had got involved in such a big fight the previous night. The manager suddenly appeared again, telling him to smile. Caught off guard, Minato thought that it was his policy not to get involved in troublesome things. He also noticed that Nanase had been acting strange all day. She kept appearing everywhere he went, winking when their eyes met, suddenly sitting next to him, and speaking to him with a smile he had never seen before. Each time, she gave him some sort of signal. By the end of the day, strange rumors had already started spreading around school, and Minato thought his peaceful school life had been ruined. Exhausted, he went to his part-time job again, and told the manager that he would be heading out first. The manager watched him leave, worried. Minato walked into a back room, thinking that he should stop thinking about Nanase. He was relieved that their shifts did not overlap that day. But when he entered, he saw Nanase sitting and reading a book. She greeted him and said he had worked hard. Minato, surprised, replied absent-mindedly, then realized who it was, and exclaimed her name in shock. Nanase, blushing, told him that she did not think he should undress in front of a lady. Minato quickly apologized and asked why she was there, since he thought she had the day off. Nanase calmly said that she had come because she had business with him, then locked the door. Minato, tense, wondered if he had done something to make her angry, thinking that he had been hoping to get through the day without any trouble. Suddenly, Nanase slammed him against the wall and hugged him, saying that finally, it was just the two of them. Minato was stunned and asked what she was doing. Nanase, still holding him tightly, said that she was hugging him and rubbed her face against his chest. Minato, flustered, told her that was not what he meant, and that he wanted to know why. Nanase, blushing, sniffed his shirt and murmured that he smelt nice and that she quite liked his fragrance. Minato, blushing deeply, asked if she was not a bit too close. In disbelief, he thought that this could not possibly be the same cold-hearted princess from school. He realized that if things went any further, it would be bad in many ways, and he tried to push her away, telling her to let go. Nanase refused, simply saying no. Shocked, Minato asked what he had to do to make her let go. Nanase softly said, "Me." Confused, Minato asked what she meant, and she took his face in her hands, telling him that when he wanted to say something, he needed to look into the other person's eyes. As she leaned closer, their faces drew near, and she said that if he kissed her, she would let go. Minato's face turned bright red, as he thought that she was far too different from how she acted at school. Nanase hugged Minato and, while blushing, asked him to kiss her. Minato thought that he was currently being forced to kiss the beautiful Oju-sama, from a distinguished family who rejected every boy in school, the one they called the cold-hearted princess, Nanase Rei. Minato turned his face away and, blushing, refused. Nanase demanded to know why, and Minato, still flushed, explained that Nanase was not his girlfriend or anything, she was just a classmate, so there was no reason for him to kiss her. Nanase, blushing, huffed and then ordered Minato to hug and hold her tight. Minato balked and asked if she was a child. Nanase hugged him more tightly. Minato wondered what was going on and could not believe this was the same cold-hearted princess from school. Nanase declared that she would not let him go until he kissed her. Minato clenched his fist and thought that he could not stay like that forever. His body could not take it. He asked if hugging her would make her let go. Nanase nodded and assured him that of course it would. Resigning himself, Minato decided that whatever happened happened, and he hugged her. Nanase sighed happily and, while hugging him, said that she felt so happy. Minato, hugging her back, wondered what the sensation was. Strangely, he did not hate it. Suddenly, the manager knocked on the door and asked if Ichijo-kun was feeling all right and whether he could make it home on his own. Panic-stricken at the thought of the manager seeing them like that, Minato replied that he was fine and, leaning close, whispered into Nanase's ear for her to let go for a bit. Nanase, still hugging him, replied that she would stay just a little longer. Minato wondered where her cold-hearted side had gone. Pushing her back, Minato said that staying there was bad and suggested they go to his place. Blushing, Nanase repeated his name in surprise and then asked if he really meant it. Minato explained that his place was just a simple apartment he lived in by himself and that there was nothing fancy about it. Nanase hesitated but then urged him to hurry. The scene shifted to the Ichijo residence, where Minato offered her coffee and asked whether she wanted it black. Nanase requested sugar and milk as well. Seated at Minato's table and looking around the apartment, Nanase was told not to look so much because there was nothing strange there. Flustered and blushing, Nanase admitted that someone living alone had kept the place quite tidy. Minato jokingly asked if she was his mother-in-law as he set a cup of coffee on the table, then bluntly asked why she had acted the way she had earlier. Nana stated plainly that it was because she liked him. Minato, tense and bewildered, said he did not understand why someone like Nanase would take an interest in a nobody like him. Nanase reminded him that he had saved her after work the previous day, and that he had looked really cool then. Minato conceded that his body had simply moved on its own at that moment. Nanase then asked whether he wanted to go out with her. Minato exploded in surprise, slamming the table and asking what had come over her, arguing that a young lady from the Nanase family could not be dating someone so easily. Nanase acknowledged that parents often decided marriage partners, smiling as she did so, and Minato accused her of being no different. Nanase moved closer to Minato's face and inquired whether he was the next head of the Ichijo family. Ichijo Minato-kun. Minato, shocked, sipped his tea tensely and admitted that she had known. Nanase explained that the Ichijo family had supported the country behind the scenes for many years as a former noble family. She suggested that Minato's secrecy about people close to him was probably for his own safety, since she did not like troublesome matters. Minato reflected that being born into his family meant he would likely have nothing to do with love. His duty was to leave an heir for the family, and he had accepted that fate. He told Nanase that someday he would be engaged to someone his parents chose. Nanase responded thoughtfully, repeating, "someday," and noting that his family seemed strict about such things. She added that her older sister would inherit the Nanase family, while Minato mentioned that his younger sister was uninterested in social debut and also disliked troublesome things like himself. Nanase laughed and said she would like to meet his sister. Minato explained that his sister was in middle school and had not made her social debut yet, unlike Nanase, who had been kept as a secret. Nanase asked if his sister resembled him and whether she liked sweets. Minato teased that Nanase was planning to win him over through his sister. Talking with Nanase felt strangely calming to Minato. He realized he had never had such a deep conversation with someone in the same situation, and he found the time pleasant. Nanase complimented the coffee and thanked him. Minato offered to see her home, but Nanase said she would call for a ride and that she had enjoyed the day. As she prepared to leave, Nanase blushed, called out Minato's name, then decided it was nothing and promised to see him at school the next day. Minato agreed and thought that Nanase would be really cute if she smiled like that at school. He hoped they could talk more casually. The scene shifted to the next day at school, where a boy rambled about people he knew and then received an exasperated retort from Minato. Nanase approached and called out to Minato. Minato responded, and the whole class watched. The boy teased Minato about what he had done to get the cold-hearted princess to speak to him. Nanase gave that boy a cold look, frightening him, and Minato noted that the pressure felt even higher than usual. He wondered if yesterday's Nanase had been an illusion. Nanase offered to come back later if Minato was busy, but Minato, tense, said it was fine. The boy whispered to Minato, asking what he had done, and Minato replied with a terse greeting. Nanase then revealed that they had decided on her fiancé. The whole class reacted in shock. Minato inwardly deliberated whether to be happy for her or to show sympathy. He acknowledged that the marriage was for family reasons and lacked love, but he felt it was a shame it happened so soon. When Minato asked what kind of person the fiancé was, Nanase said there would be a formal greeting soon. Minato forced a supportive smile and told Nanase that he knew it would be troublesome, but that she should hang in there. Nanase replied that she would do her best and turned away as the class buzzed with shock. The teasing boy suggested Minato could cry on someone's chest, and Minato snapped, telling him to quit acting like Minato had just been rejected. Later, Minato sat on his sofa at home, thinking that Nanase had accepted this fate for her family. He wondered whether he would also end up with someone he did not know, and berated himself for the perplexity he felt. His phone rang. Seeing the caller, Minato realized it was his father. The scene shifted to the Ichijo household, where Minato complained that the marriage talks were moving far too quickly and wondered how things had ended up this way. He remembered that the marriage talk had only come up the previous day. When Minato questioned his father, the elder Ichijo shouted that Minato's fiancé had been chosen and that Minato would meet her the next day. Minato protested that the meeting was the following day, incredulous at how fast everything was happening. His father continued to shout and urged him to hurry, even describing a helicopter arrival. Minato, bewildered, watched his father land in a helicopter and joked that his father had not changed a bit. The head of the Ichijo family, Ichijo Shinya, told Minato that he could look forward to his partner, who came from a top-notch family and was quite the beauty, and he laughed as he patted Minato on the shoulder, instructing Minato to act the part of the next family head. Minato, clutching his chest, acknowledged that he understood and resolved seriously that he would need to toughen up so as not to lose face in front of Nanase. The next day at the appointed meeting, Minato opened a door and declared to himself that he would accept this fate. Shock washed over him when he saw Nanase standing there. Nanase introduced herself politely as Nanase Rei, the second daughter of the Nanase family, and, blushing, said that she looked forward to working with him in the future, addressing him affectionately as darling. Then the scene shifted to the two of them sitting together. Rei formally introduced herself, saying it was a pleasure to meet him, that she was Nanase Rei, the second daughter of the Nanase family, and that she hoped he would take care of her from then on. Her father laughed and suggested they leave the rest to the young couple, while Minato's father loudly agreed. The two fathers then exited the room, leaving them alone in silence. After a brief pause, Minato finally asked what on earth was going on. Rei leaned in close and teasingly asked whether he was surprised, calling him her dear husband. Startled, he reacted instinctively, while internally reflecting that when he had heard Nanase's fiancé had already been chosen, he had felt sympathy for her, never imagining that he himself would be the fiancé. With both fathers completely in agreement, there was clearly no way the engagement would be called off. Rei commented that he had seemed timid and shy in front of Shinya Oji-san, teasing that she might have embarrassed him. Minato observed that she was acting just like her usual self. As she prepared tea, Rei explained that she had undergone training in refined manners, so that she would be loved by everyone, playfully wondering whether he had already fallen for her. Minato admitted internally that he still could not see her as a romantic partner. Rei mockingly called that unfortunate before handing him the tea and asking what he thought of her appearance. He awkwardly replied that it looked nice. Unsatisfied, she teased him further, commenting on his hair and asking whether he had dyed the white streaks. She revealed they were only extensions and asked whether he liked the color. Minato fumbled through an answer, saying black hair conformed to school rules. Rei immediately teased that he liked her black hair, and though he denied it, she smiled and declared that even if she was wrong for now, they would be together all the time from then on and that he would come to love all of her. Blushing, Minato asked what she meant by being together all the time. Rei casually explained that she would be moving into his apartment starting the next day. Shocked, he internally complained that his father had not mentioned this at all. The next day, the scene shifted to the apartment. Minato noted that they had just about finished unpacking. Rei thanked him for helping, calling him kind. He replied that since they had already decided to live together, helping was only natural. Internally, he was stunned that the decision had been made only yesterday and that she had already moved in so forcefully. Rei sat on the bed and complimented his taste in furniture. Minato told her she could use the room as she liked and said he would return to his own room. She stopped him, suggesting he take a break and sit with her. Embarrassed, he hesitated, but after she teased him for being unexpectedly shy, he reluctantly sat beside her, insisting it would only be for a moment. Rei remarked that if he stayed that nervous all the time, their life together would be exhausting. He muttered that it was her fault. She then lay down, commenting on how comfortable the bed was and inviting him to lie down as well. Flustered, he told her to have more discretion. Smiling, she suggested that they would be sleeping together that night and called him her dear husband. Blushing, Minato thought that she believed he could not fight back but resolved that for the sake of the future, he needed to be more assertive. He grabbed her hand and warned her that if she provoked him, she would have no one to blame if she was attacked, saying it should serve as a lesson. Rei, equally flustered, admitted she would be fine even if he used some force. Shocked by her response, Minato immediately backed off, apologizing and claiming he had taken the joke too far. Sweating from the move, he excused himself to take a shower. Rei, still lying on the bed, teasingly called him weak as he left. He resolved internally that from now on, he would need to take a more active approach. In the bathroom, he tried to cool down, thinking it had all been too much. While changing, Rei called out to him, startling him as she peeked in. He hurriedly told her to wait, and she shyly offered to wash his back. He firmly declined, telling her not to push herself if she was not used to seeing a man's body. Then the scene shifted to dinner time. Rei sat close beside him and urged him to open his mouth, trying to feed him. He protested that he could eat by himself. Even later, as he finished his homework, she appeared behind him and softly remarked that he had been working hard, offering a shoulder rub near his ear. Flustered, he refused, insisting it was not the time for that. Later, Minato reflected that he had finally calmed down after Rei's sudden appearance in the bathroom. The first day had passed far too quickly. He noted that the supermarket was already closed, forcing him to travel all the way to a distant convenience store just to buy milk. Internally, he admitted that although he had planned to counterattack earlier, he was the one who had ended up overwhelmed. Rei's constant attentiveness felt like a storm. Walking home, his face warm with embarrassment, he wondered what awaited him. Upon arriving, he called out that he was home, only to realize Rei was not there. Confused by his own cautious behavior in his own apartment, he set the groceries down and noticed the complete silence. Assuming she was already asleep, he drank some water and decided to head to bed, feeling suddenly exhausted. Turning on the lights in his room, he froze. Rei was already lying on his bed. She sleepily explained that she had fallen asleep by accident while rubbing her eyes. Stunned, he questioned why she was in his room, and more importantly, why she was wearing his shirt. Rei calmly confessed that she had fallen in love with his scent and had accidentally put it on while she was alone. When he repeated the word accidentally in disbelief, she explained, blushing, that it was known as his shirt to her. He firmly told her to change out of his clothes and stop sniffing them. She refused outright, continuing to enjoy it. Flustered, he quickly turned away and insisted that there was school the next day, ordering her to sleep in her own room. Rei reminded him that she had already told him they would be spending the night together. Shocked, he asked whether she had been serious. She replied that since it was their first night together, they needed to make it a special memory. Minato carefully confirmed that they were only sleeping together and nothing more. Rei answered seriously that of course that was the case at least for that day. As she grabbed him, he blushed intensely, wondering how long she planned to keep tempting him. He worried about their status as high school students, the family name, and the consequences if the engagement were ever called off. Still, he could not bring himself to push her away so abruptly. With a deep sigh, he finally agreed, emphasizing that it was just for that night. Rei smiled brightly, saying she had expected that from her dear husband, and told him to hurry under the covers. Lying beside her, Minato felt tense and immediately regretted his decision. Rei whispered that she was too excited to fall asleep and asked whether his heart was pounding too. He denied it, though his thoughts betrayed him. She hugged him from behind and asked whether he truly felt nothing, quietly wondering if she was not good enough to be his wife. He said nothing at first, then sat up and reflected that she was trying hard to act like a wife. Even without experience, he knew he had to choose his words carefully. Blushing, he told her that she was someone he liked and that there was nothing about her he disliked, then hesitantly asked what stage they were really at. When he looked at her again, he realized she had already fallen asleep. Laughing softly, he noted how enthusiastic she had been about the move. In her sleep, she murmured that she would work hard, calling him her dear husband. Minato gently covered her with the blanket, smiled, and lay down beside her, wishing her good night as he lightly touched her finger. An hour later, he was still awake, unable to sleep because she was holding his hand, his expression tense as he stared into the darkness. The scene shifted to Minato refusing emphatically, his face flushed. Rei demanded to know why they could not go to school together. Minato explained that it would be bad if they drew too much attention. When she looked at him with a cute expression, he immediately told her not to give him that look. Rei replied that since they were engaged, they should spend more time together. Stammering, Minato pointed out that they were still students. Rei calmly reminded him that they had already spent the night together, causing him to panic and protest that she should not use such easily misunderstood phrasing. Trying to regain control of the situation, Minato insisted that they had to get ready for school and mentioned that he had already prepared breakfast, physically steering her away. Rei protested that their conversation was not finished and again suggested going to school together. Minato told her to calm down and eat before the food got cold. Rei cheerfully admired the French-style breakfast and said itadakimasu, while Minato internally noted that he had somehow managed to move past the situation for the moment. Rei then suggested that if they could not go as a couple, they should invite his friend to walk with them. Minato immediately rejected the idea. Rei replied that she did not mind and reasoned that once people got used to seeing them together, they could gradually start going as a couple. When Minato claimed his friend was busy with his own matters, Rei concluded that going together was unavoidable after all. Frustrated, Minato asked why she was so obsessed with the idea. Rei answered simply that couples did not need a reason to want to be together. After hesitating, Minato proposed a compromise. They would not go to school together, but they could meet after school and go to the supermarket to buy ingredients for dinner. Internally, he wondered whether this plan would work. Rei enthusiastically agreed, calling it something a married couple would do, and happily declared that she would be in charge of dinner that night, promising to put her all into it. Minato realized they could avoid drawing attention, then immediately panicked at the thought that this would happen every day. He announced that he would head out first. As he was tying his shoes, Rei called out to him. He turned, and she smiled brightly, telling him to see her later and calling him her dear husband. Flustered, Minato awkwardly told her to take care as well before leaving. While walking to school, Minato reflected that at home he felt completely wrapped around her finger. He questioned the strange gap between her behavior at home and her unchanged Ice Queen persona at school. Scolding himself to get a grip, he reminded himself that he had managed to live a peaceful school life so far. Determined, he resolved not to let her take the lead when shopping that evening and decided he needed some kind of plan. The scene shifted to Class 1A. Sitting at his desk, Minato noticed the unusually high number of absences and assumed the flu must be going around. Kanata greeted him loudly and revealed that rumors about the Ice Queen's marriage proposal had spread throughout the entire school. According to him, the shock had confined the members of her fan club to their beds. Minato realized that explained the absences. Kanata joked that in an arranged marriage, the couple was not necessarily in love, meaning she could still be taken by someone else, and casually suggested he might make his own move. Minato instinctively shouted a refusal before quickly covering his mouth, horrified at what he had blurted out. He then reminded Kanata that he already had Yui. Kanata acknowledged it, and Minato added that she was known as an angel at school and that he did think she was beautiful. Kanata teased him about his type, while Minato told him to knock it off. Kanata explained that since he spent so much time with Yui, he was already used to her beauty. Instead, he praised Nanase's cool demeanor and unwavering eyes, even when she was being hit on. Minato absent-mindedly agreed, recalling Rei's affectionate farewell from that morning. Kanata suddenly declared that he would never forgive the fiancé, loudly expressing envy at someone being able to monopolize the Ice Queen and admitting he wanted to be glared at by her with disdain again. At that moment, several students gathered around. One girl angrily declared that she would not forgive him either. Kanata was startled, and the group announced themselves as the Nanase Rei fan club, stating that while they wished for her happiness, The rumors suggested the engagement was due to family circumstances. Kanata insisted they could not accept the relationship if there was no love involved. Another girl declared they would not accept anyone who failed to make Nanase happy. Minato tried to calm them down, but Kanata escalated things by insisting that all students deserved a chance. The group concluded that once they identified the fiancé, they would cross-examine him. Panicking, Minato realized how dangerously united they were. When a girl asked Minato to help uncover the fiancé's identity, citing his public rejection, he impulsively agreed, immediately realizing his mistake. Internally, he cursed himself, knowing exposure was now more dangerous than ever. The group rushed off to question Nanase, but she entered the classroom herself, greeting everyone with a calm good morning. Confused, Minato looked around and noticed everyone had vanished. Rei sat at her desk and casually remarked that he seemed to be having fun with his friends, peeking at him with a blush. He waved awkwardly, causing her to puff her cheeks in a small sulk. The bell rang, and the scene shifted. In physical education, Rei appeared in her training uniform, stretching. The teacher instructed the class to pair up for doubles tennis. Both Rei and Minato focused on the word pair, each privately wondering who they would end up with. Minato shook his head, telling himself he had been far too aware of Nanase lately and needed to find a partner quickly. However, his long-standing habit of avoiding close connections left him with no one to group up with. Accepting his situation, he prepared to wait until someone tapped his back. Turning around, he found Rei asking whether he would pair up with her. Shocked, he stammered her name, recalling the fan club's warning, before nervously agreeing and shaking her hand. The surrounding students erupted in disbelief and jealousy, shouting about the Ice Queen pairing up with Ichijo and calling them the school's cool-type representatives. Minato internally questioned how he had been labeled that way. The teacher instructed the pairs to head to the courts and begin rally practice. Rei served, and Minato warned that he was only average at tennis. As she bounced the ball, Minato sensed her enjoyment and wondered what she was plotting. Her beautiful form drew admiration from the onlookers. Minato returned the ball, thinking that this was exactly what he had meant. As the rally intensified, he acknowledged that she truly embodied the Ice Queen persona even in sports. Rei cheerfully remarked that rallies were fun, while Minato dashed to return the ball, insisting there was no time for that. Other students commented that the two were not warming up at all and were practically playing a singles match. Just as Minato feared he could not return a shot, someone dashed in and saved it. Introducing herself, the girl revealed she was Toru Miku from the tennis club. Smiling, she commented on Nanase's strength and boldly challenged her to a match, calling her Miss Ice Queen. Rei responded with a sharp, fierce smile, her competitive spirit clearly ignited.
By the way, if you enjoyed the video, maybe consider liking and subscribing, pretty please?